morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Nice to see you all. I'm Dr. Henry Segrishi, Director of Music, and we have a hymn that we're going to sing together here. Most of us know the part that goes E-flat. Come, come, whoever you are. We know that part, but we don't always know the though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Great. So what we'd like to do, I'd like to invite you all to stand as you're able. We'll all sing through Come, Come twice, and then I'll ask this side here to continue singing Come, Come, and I'll give you a cue, though we've broken our vows. All right? So here we go. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet and come. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet and come. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, 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 broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, yet and come.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I welcome you to Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, a liberal religious community where love works. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, and whatever your gender identity, beliefs, or immigration status, you are welcome here. We appreciate you sharing the gift of your presence and connection by worshiping with us today. A special welcome to those joining us are online, whether in the moment or in catching up later. We are so glad to have you with us.
Good morning. A very special welcome to our guest this morning, especially my good colleague, the Reverend Barbara Hansen, and her family who are joining us this morning. So Barbara and I went to seminary together at Meadville Lombard Theological School. We were floor mates, and more than that, but that would be too much information. No, we shared a bathroom in our first year. Yep. Anyway, it's wonderful to have you join us for worship this morning, Barbara. Welcome. And if you're new to Cedar Lane and feel comfortable doing so, would you please raise your hand and keep it raised for a moment so that we may see you, welcome you, and also that our ushers may find you. Come on, don't be shy. Let's give our guests a warm Cedar Lane welcome. Included with your gift is a beautiful brochure that gives you more information about Cedar Lane. If you would take a moment and fill out the back page and drop it into the offering plate during the offering, we would appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the gift of your presence today. All are invited to stay after after service for coffee and conversation, and because at Cedar Lane, yellow means?
Hello.
Indeed. At this time, I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements page that you may have picked up on your way in. There are quite a number of happenings on campus this week and in upcoming weeks, but we will highlight a few things.
First of all, if you have a pastoral need or concern today, Ann Meyer will be at our Joys and Sorrows table during and after the service. Please feel free to connect with her if you have something on your heart. Also, the memorial service for Diane Wallenmeyer will be held on Saturday, May 11th at 10:30 a.m. here at Cedar Lane.
And this afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock, we will be preparing for a wonderful concert with Phil Wiggins. At 3 o'clock, there will be a talk that Barry Burgee, our member here, will be sharing, as well as then following up with the concert at 4 and then a meal at 5. Look forward to seeing many of you there. It's going to be an awesome evening. And as we go through the season of budget, our board is planning 2 important forums about the budget, the first of which will be happening on Tuesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. And some very exciting news. The Reverend Dr. William Barber will be coming to Cedar Lane again this Wednesday, joining us for a time of prayer with our sanctuary guest, Doña Rosa, and the Cedar Lane congregation as we continue our sanctuary work, and then sharing a public statement in support of Doña Rosa and our congregation. So we hope you will be able to join us at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, May 8th. And
Shall we begin?
And now, in keeping with the spirit of deepening our connection and community, let's just take 2 moments to greet our immediate neighbors, especially our guests.
Start with the desk here. I'll start with
Yeah.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
Lovely to be here. Lovely to see you. Go ahead.
Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, 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 though you've broken your vows 1,000.
as our 6th grade growing up year class and their teachers kindle the chalice, symbol of our faith and gathered community, please rise in body and or in spirit to share in unison the chalice lighting words printed in your order of celebration. May we plant the love of the holy ones within our spirits. May we not give our hearts to anything but the love of those whose hearts are glad. May we not travel to the neighborhood of despair, because there is hope. May we become the light.
Thank you, Children's Choir, for that wonderful piece of music, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Unitarian Universalism draws from many theological sources. The third source draws from the wisdom from the world's religions, which invites us to be engaged and to learn from in our ethical and spiritual life. Our Growing Up Year class, which is our 6th grade class, has spent the entire year engaging with that source and have come before they have learned along with their teachers. So let us welcome our Growing Up Year class this morning.
Thank you, thank you. It's great to be here. And as Abhi said, this is a wonderful thing we do with your kids. We take them to places of worship of many different kinds. We talk about what religion is, what religions have in common. We talk about the good religion do and the bad. And we have a lot of fun. They have amazingly wonderful, thoughtful questions. This year we went to a Hindu temple and a Buddhist temple, a Catholic church, Jewish synagogue. We went to a mega church in Virginia. I just died for their parking lot. Oh my God. And in every case, our kids were incredibly respectful and appropriate and did us proud. I'll stop.
We just wanted to give some thanks, first of all, to our students for being such a good example to us of curiosity and enthusiasm, and for the way that they came and participated. We also want to thank the parents who brought the kids. Sometimes we had 8 o'clock services that we had to make it to, and they were really sweet to bring their kids that early. And they helped us drive to the different places we visited. We wanted to thank Tim and Ashley and the places of worship that welcomed us. They were mostly very accepting and kind. And we're also grateful for our faith that accepts us as we are and encourages us to explore all of our questions. And we're going to turn the time over now to the students. I'm just going to introduce them really fast. From your right to your left, we have Max, Nova, Ella, Lucy, and Ava.
She's hiding in the back.
For our questions about religion, we decided to ask an all-knowing, all-powerful being of whom we can turn to guidance for every hour of the day. Someone who wants to talk to us if only we can reach out. Here she is, Alexa. Do we have some questions ready? Let's start with our focus in today's service.
Alexa, what is Ramadan?
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. It is observed by Muslims worldwide as a month of fasting to commemorate the first revelation of the Quran to Muhammad according to Islam beliefs.
Hey Alexa, why is religion important?
Here is something I found on reference.com. Religion is important because it helps to regulate behavior.
Alexa, what is Unitarian Universalism?
Unitarian Universalism is usually defined as a religion that encourages theological liberalism and individual search for the truth. And the inheritance of which, drawn on many different theological sources, and have a wide range of beliefs and practices.
Alexa, how many religions are there?
There are 2,400 religions. 4,200 religions.
Alexa, is religion good for people?
This might answer your question. The movie Religion has the rating of 7.9 out of 10 from around 900 users. It is currently 34,015, the most popular movie on IMDb. The film is not rated.
Alexa, are there apps for Unitarian Universalists?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Thanks for trying, Alexa, but we don't know the answer to that question ourselves. There are two now. One is the UU Daily Principle, and the second is the UU Meditations for Lent, only available during Lent. We asked the class about their impressions of other religions and their sanctuaries. Here are some of their responses.
We learned about atheism. One thing we learned about atheists is that they recognize problems, critical thoughts, only evidence.
We also learned about Hinduism, in which when you enter a temple, you have to take your shoes off and wash your feet. And there are many aspects of deity and individual beliefs.
We visited a Buddhist temple. They were really calm and they practiced meditation.
We also went to a mega church. It was big, not very exciting, not very friendly, but it had high tech. We also asked out class two related questions. Has your awareness of religion changed, and how? And how have your beliefs in religion changed this year?
I've learned about many religions and have a better understanding of the differences and similarities. I've realized how some people are more strict about their religious practices and some prefer to be more laid back.
It hasn't really changed my beliefs, but going on all those field trips opened up my awareness that there are so many religions out there and how many we can appreciate.
My thoughts on religion have not changed. I still believe in being nice to everyone and caring for the earth.
It mainly changed how I see other religious friends in a good way.
Thank you all very much. It's been a great privilege to work with your children.
Thank you to the students and the teachers for this wonderful journey through world religions. Thank you for all your efforts. And now let us rise together and sing hymn number 193, Our Faith is But a Single Gem. Our children will join us in the first verse, and then during the second verse go to their religious education programming.
We don't know this hymn very well, so I'd like to ask Seha to play it through for us once, please. Our
Come, wanderer, come, worshiper, as we gather as companions on life's journey to bear witness to our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. When I hold up my arms, I invite you to say, "We hold you in our hearts." In this gathered community, if you are living through the small and extraordinary milestones of life, we hold you in our hearts. If you are mourning a loss, live with or care for someone with grief or chronic pain, we hold you in our hearts. If you are struggling with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental illness or addictions, we hold you in our hearts. If you have suffered abuse or injustice, we hold you in our hearts. If parenting is your spiritual practice, we hold you in our hearts. In our Cedar Lane community, we celebrate our sanctuary team receiving Humanitarian of the Year from River Road Unitarian Universalist's Latin America Task Force Network. And we offer our condolences to Todd, Lisa, and Ann Chernikoff. Todd's sister-in-law Colleen died suddenly last week. We hold you in our hearts. Our caring extends beyond Cedar Lane to others whose lives are lost or impacted by violence and calamities in our world. Especially this week, we mourn the loss of 2 lives in yet another act of gun violence at the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. We remember all those affected by the severe cyclone in eastern India, and we remember the people of Venezuela as they continue to be impacted by the humanitarian and political crisis that has taken several lives and displaced hundreds of thousands of people. We hold you in our hearts. May these friends of ours, our companions in the world, and all that lives unspoken in our hearts, be held in the musings of our hearts and in the solace that silence brings.
Let us breathe into this silence, allowing our bodies to settle into our seats, allowing our minds to quiet for just a moment. Spirit, we come with broken hearts and broken vows, seeking, searching, wandering, and wondering. We come with questions, hoping for answers. We come with expectation. And in this sacred time, in this sacred space, made holy by our presence, may we find what we need. May we hear what we need. And may those broken places be held with gentle touch so that we might find the wholeness within. As we breathe into this sacred silence, I invite those grieving a loss or commemorating a loss to stand and be held by this community. May all feel the embrace of a love that will not let us go. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Please be seated. O you who have believed, prescribed upon you is fasting, as it was prescribed upon those before you, that you may become righteous. Fast for a limited number of days. So whoever among you is ill or on a journey during them, then an equal number of days are to be made up. And upon those who are able to fast, but with hardship, a ransom as substitute of feeding a poor person each day. And whoever volunteers excess, it is better for them. But to fast is best for you, if you only knew.
The month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So whoever sights the new moon of the month, let them fast it. And whoever is ill and on a journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that to which Allah has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, most merciful. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. Thank you. Thank you for those beautiful Sufi chants. Really holds us. Thank you. And for the time and effort you put in to find those and practice those, Henry. Thank you. So in 1855, Walt Whitman, in the preface to his famous collection of poems, Leaves of Grass, wrote, "Re-examine all you have been told in school or church or in any book, and dismiss whatever insults your own soul, and your very flesh shall be a great poem, and have the richest fluency not only in its words, but in the silent lines of its lips and face, and between the lashes of your eyes, and in every motion and joint of your body." Wow. So I'd like us to keep this vivid image in our minds of our flesh and our lives being a great poem, as we reflect today on the blessings and deeper meanings of fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, one of the 5 foundational pillars of Islam. Now, as we heard our children share, Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. And because it is a lunar calendar, the month of Ramadan shifts from year to year. And the observation of Ramadan, however, is immovable. Muslims observe the month by fasting to commemorate the first revelation of the Holy Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The fast is an obligatory act that lasts from dawn to sunset over the course of 29 or 30 days, depending on when the crescent moon is sighted. Now this year, Ramadan will begin tomorrow, May 6th, and end on Tuesday, June 4th. Now the arrival of Ramadan sparks curiosity and awareness and even some consternation that gives rise to several questions. What exactly is fasting? Is it an aimless exercise of austerity or a religious or spiritual discipline promising physical, emotional, and spiritual development? Is fasting unique to Islam, or do other world religions inculcate fasting as well? And consequently, what is the significance of Ramadan itself, and what are the objectives that a Muslim strives to achieve in this month? So first and foremost, what is fasting? Well, fasting is commonly understood as abstaining from all or some kinds of food and drink, especially as a religious observance. And fasting as a religious observance is a mode of self-reflection, moral conditioning, and spiritual development. Historically, fasting has also been used as an expression of protest against injustice or oppression. For example, Mahatma Gandhi's use of fasting to exert moral pressure on his political opponents was often an effective and widely publicized tactic. But fasting is not unique to Islam. In fact, the Holy Quran declares, "O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become righteous." So in the Hindu and Buddhist traditions, fasting, known as upavasa in Sanskrit, is a common expression of religious sentiment and ranges from complete abstinence from all food and water to reduced consumption over an extended period. It also refers to an all-inclusive abstinence from all forms of sensual gratification. In Judaism, the fast of Yom Kippur entails abstention from eating and drinking, from washing, wearing of leather shoes, and sexual relations for 24 hours. And the fast is framed by 2 meals which discourage asceticism and teach that it is just as good to eat well as it is to fast. Oh, I like that approach. And in the Christian tradition, fasting is observed during Lent, the 40-day period of preparation before Easter, and also during Advent, the period before Christmas. Now, in Islam, fasting is not only a physical act, but also is a spiritual practice. Explaining the essence of fasting in Islam, my friend Imam Tariq El-Ghavari states, "The fast itself allows us to withhold the physical so that we can experience the spiritual. We go without food, without drink for certain hours of the day in order that our soul can experience that which it doesn't usually experience throughout the year." And then he continues, Ramadan is a month of prayer in which we pray more throughout the day and at night. It is a month when Muslims commit to study the entire Quran. It is a month of forgiveness in which we soften and turn a new chapter in our relationship with Allah and with one another. It is also a month of charity, a month in which we give to those that do not have, those that are hurting. We give from what Allah has given us in excess to help those that are less fortunate, to the poor, to the needy, to the mosque, to causes. It is a month of giving, reminding us that it is also a month of community. Then he concludes, Ramadan is the month of transformation, the month of change. So I'm planning to fast again this year, my 12th year, during the entire month of Ramadan, from dawn to sunset. Now, during this period, I will be setting aside as much time as possible for reflection, meditation, and prayer. Now, I do not keep a strict fast as is prescribed in the Holy Quran. Instead, I tend to keep a 12 to 13-hour fast and also drink some water during the day. But this year, I'm going to try and keep as strict a fast as possible. So I'll let you know how it goes. But why would I, a non-Muslim, put myself through all this hassle, you might wonder? Why not simply write a generous check to a deserving relief organization? What benefit might be achieved through following a spiritual practice of a faith tradition that is not my own and to which I have a rather tenuous connection? For those who may not know this, my father is Muslim. Though my parents separated when I was very young and was raised primarily by my Unitarian Hindu mother. Now, I admit that there are not many tangible benefits in undertaking this fast, other than maybe shedding a few pounds that I could shed around the waist. But the intangibles, to me, are as important, if not more important, than the tangibles. Firstly, I am fasting to cultivate gratitude, trying to become more intentional and cognizant of the many unbidden blessings in my life, to escape the snares of callousness which lie in waiting for someone whose life is too much blessed. I want to cleanse the windows of perception so that my vision is less clouded by selfish desire and self-concern. And so by fasting, I wish to learn greater appreciation for the gifts of the ordinary, those basic elements of life which I, as a conspicuous consumer, tend to take for granted. I am fasting to make more room for God. I want to deepen or reawaken my sense of the holy by letting go of my sometimes insane cravings for good food. And I mean it. I love food. Now, as a Unitarian Universalist, I believe in the primacy of reason, love, conscience, and freedom. And I know that the biggest obstacle to my being able to live fully, freely, and compassionately is my own ego, my selfishness, and my desires. And at times, I have tended to fill my spiritual hunger, to feed it with food and drink, with stuff, with work, with distractions like watching Game of Thrones on television, which I will be tonight. But as a Zulu proverb says, you cannot see the truth with a stuffed belly. And as a religious liberal who is committed to exploring the eternal, I hope fasting this month will help make more room for the holy within and an awareness of the holy without. And I'm fasting in solidarity with my Muslim siblings and neighbors, and also as an act of faithful resistance. I'm entering this Ramadan remembering the 50 Muslims who were murdered by a white supremacist in Christchurch while they were praying, and also carrying a sense of outrage toward a president who continues to send out Islamophobic messages inciting violence against a black Muslim Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, endangering her life and the lives of Muslims who live in this country. Supporting and ensuring the safety of our Muslim neighbors is a critical position to uphold in the face of normalized racism and violence against them. It means valuing the dignity and worth of their identities, backgrounds, and their humanity. And I'm fasting as an act of faith. Now, I don't know why Ramadan is the act of faith which has endured in me over all these years. Because I'm not a practicing Muslim, but I'm still very invested in the rigor of Ramadan. And I suppose that might be it. The rigor is the act I still seek. A part of this is routine. But a part of it, I imagine, is like that basketball player who takes a shot beyond the three-point line with their team down by 2 points as the buzzer sounds and tries to get it all back at once. Now, I know the ways in which I fall down gloriously in the face of my beliefs throughout the year. And yet, I wish to consider myself forgiven at least once each year. When I wake up early to pray and have a small meal with the sun breaking over the horizon. When I fast now, I feel closer to my faith than I did before. And I am performing it for no one but myself. In most instances, my friends and peers rarely know if I am fasting, or they often forget. To go about it in solitude is my preferred mode now, when nothing else matters but the month-long journey back to some spiritual center I've thought myself to be lacking or have found my way away from. And when the month ends, I don't return to a dedicated spiritual practice, and my life resumes as it normally does all other 11 months of the year. But for as many days as it takes for the crescent moon to unsheath itself, I will recite all of the old Hindu prayers I have skipped. And I will remind myself how to talk to a holy entity. I don't eat, sure, but the not eating has become the easy part, particularly as I have gotten older. To find the humility to imagine myself as small, minuscule, in the face of something much larger than me is the hard part, and for me, that has little to do with not eating and more to do with the knowing that you could eat at any time, that you have the ability and the privilege to fill yourself, to gorge, and you still choose not to. So I do this in the name of a faith that I am not a part of, and yet have felt at home in. And that makes the act both more complicated and more fulfilling. All this to say that I'm not intending to pressure you all to fast this month with me. If you choose to, that's wonderful. Be happy to partner with you. But what I am inviting you to consider is to use this time to stop focusing so much on the lesser nourishment of the body and focus more on the larger nourishment of the soul. I'm asking you to try and make more room in your busy and harried lives, setting aside more time for some self-examination, a time to consider both our limitations and our possibilities, a time to develop our ability to feel a bit more grounded and centered, a time to empty out ourselves so that something new might enter, and to wonder what might that space look like in your life. What could you do symbolically or literally to make more room, more space in your life to reflect, to connect, to question, to listen, to act? Is there something you could let go to let God in? Is there an invitation you could give to someone? Is there an appointment you can cancel? Is there a walk you can take? Is there a hand you can hold? Is there a truth you need to admit? Is there a confession you need to make to yourself or to another? Is there something or someone you need to forgive? Is there something or someone you need to seek forgiveness from? So I invite you to approach this time with a sense of wonder and curiosity, which may be the best approach for us to take toward ourselves. An attitude of wondering and curiosity, just what are the various bits and pieces that make up our unique, broken, imperfect, yet beautiful selves. So in this holy season of celebration, of reflection, repentance, generosity, and sacrifice, may we create the spiritual and emotional space in our lives that we so desperately need. Let us make our own fast, make our own emptying, so that the Spirit of life may enter into our lives. Let us befriend ourselves with a gentle and holy curiosity, and let our flesh and our lives become a great poem. So may it be. Blessed be. As the ushers now come forward to give and receive an offering to sustain the mission and ministry of this, our spiritual home, I invite us to continue to ponder the many meanings of this holy season and move from that place to give of ourselves generously. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
For the gifts that we bring and share to make this a beloved community, may we be grateful. Please rise in body and/or in spirit to sing hymn number 148, Let Freedom Span Both East and West, in your gray hymnal.
I leave you with this benediction from Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi on fasting. There is hidden sweetness in the stomach's emptiness. We are lutes, no more, no less. If the sound box is stuffed full of anything, no music. If the brain and belly are burning clean with fasting, every moment a new song comes out of the fire. The fog clears and new energy makes you run up the steps in front of you. Be emptier and cry like reed instruments cry. Emptier, write secrets with the reed pen. When you're full of food and drink, Satan sits where your spirit should, an ugly metal statue in place of the Kaaba. When you fast, good habits gather like friends who want to help. Fasting is Solomon's ring. Don't give it to some illusion and lose your power, but even if you've lost all will and control, they come back when you fast, like soldiers appearing out of the ground, pennants flying above them. A table descends to your tents, Jesus' table. Expect to see it when you fast. This table spread with other food, better than the broth of cabbages. With that image, go in peace. Go making peace, living gently, loving mightily, and bowing to the mystery. Please be seated for the postlude.